All right, welcome back to another episode of Knicks Morning Koffee. I'm Mr. King. That's my partner Joe Cool.
What's up?
All right, please remember first to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and also keep in mind that we mentioned last week I have another show called Knick Thoughts that you can find at Mr. King KMK. That's just a short version of Knicks Morning Koffee during the week, a daily show. So please like and comment to that as well. All right, so last night's game against Charlotte, like for me, that was heartbreaking because even though you almost saw it coming, but the way we came out like we were trying to put some things together.
I didn't see it coming. I got jumped. I was watching the game at home, got to the bar, and we was down 5, and I'm like, yo, what happened? So I was lost. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
That big first half lead, even though when you see Kemba and you knew he was going to play well in Charlotte, because that was his home. That's where he was an all-star. But it just didn't translate into the rest of the team to kind of like only let Kemba do it. Because that, even though we played well, it was basically Kemba. And then we have to try to find a way that when we trying to get the other guys going, we can't stop getting going. You know, we got to blend all that in. So it was just to come out in the third quarter of the past few games, you know, just a tall telling sign, you know, that we might end up be headed in the wrong direction. But nobody jumps off ship, mind you, in these situations, because everybody is still tight. I mean, there's still like maybe 2 games that separate 1 through like 8 or 9. So, you know, but 1 or 2 losses can drop you way down in the standings. Because I look at the Milwaukee game, had we won the Milwaukee game, which turned out to be winnable, we would have been in 4th. And then by losing it, you're in 7th. So it's just like it's that much of a margin. And then nothing really matters until you get 25, 30 games in. That's when you tell a team, you know, that they are what they are. But it was just that looking at that game, some good signs in it. I seen some good signs with Obi in that game last night.
He always shows sign of, like I said, I think he just playing his role. We was talking about this last night at the bar. He figured out something that Knox we wish could even figure out. You're not gonna be the focal point right now, so do everything else, and then when it's time for you to sneak in something that you can show you can do, you do it, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I got a call last night after the game that Tibbs should have stayed with the bench when they, you know, came back, took the lead, and even though now the lead started slipping again, and I at the time I was like, I wanted Obi to stay in, and I think, and I said, well, he did as a coach in that situation, he did what he had to do. Now, had we won the Milwaukee game when he went with the bench, that would have been a whole nother story. Had the bench pulled out the game. But because we lost the Milwaukee game, I think that told him that, okay, it's good that our bench give us a spark, but at the same time, then let me just go back to our starters. Because when we was playing well, it was our starters that was finishing the game. But I did thought Obi should have stayed in the game because, like you said, the other little things that he was doing. So I didn't know.
Plays, taking it to him. Thinking it through. He's not doing all the extra nonsense that everybody seems to be doing right now. It's like I feel like they got ahead of themselves. And yeah, we all know they one-on-one players, but now they doing fadeaway 3-pointers, step back threes, trying to do it themselves. But you just hit a normal 3.
Yeah.
Like if you're there open and you're swinging the ball in rotation, just make the easy play. Like why y'all making it harder for yourself?
Yeah.
So now you're taking enough energy. For you know Tibbs going to play you all game. So now you exerting energy where in the first couple of games of the season we shown that, oh, we going to win because we don't got to exert too much energy to score. Now you're doing too much to try to score. So now either it's teams playing harder defense on you because they have to. So now they know if they just play y'all man to man that y'all can't do anything. Like I don't know.
And that's the sign of when the 3 is falling. When the 3 is falling without any effort, then you tend to just get laid back in your mind, and you just think that you really got it like that when you don't. But it's just that I look at the sign from last night when we did fought our way back and then made the change which he did blend the starters with the subs, and he's still trying to find that, that cohesion. But when he brought them back, I didn't know what he was thinking in terms of when you brought back Randall and RJ. I thought he should have brought back one, because the bench they still had it rolling. They just needed that other piece now to push them over the hump. So that's where the starters and the bench, come in at. I wasn't disheartened about the bench in the Milwaukee game, about the starters when the bench did that, because that's why you got a deep team. We say we got a deep team so the bench could come in and do that type of thing. And some nights the bench got to carry you. But the starters are supposed to come back now and say, last night, the bench did that. They got us 90 yards. Now we're going to take it the other 10.
But the starters got to play together like how the bench play together.
Well, that bench been together, though, for years. So
but that's what I said, that the starters got to find a way to...
Yeah.
And they're setting them screens, and they got to work together as a unit.
Yeah, that's going to come over time. That's going to come over time. But that also leads me to... because we're going to go back to the Milwaukee game. Because the Milwaukee game, that was a reality check for me during the Milwaukee game, because I just started saying, you know how we love our Knicks, you know how stubborn I could be. You try to be realistic about your Knicks chances, but it's just that I thought when I was thinking about bringing in Kemba and Fournier and how they could come together, especially Kemba being a master at what he do, I started thinking about when the Boston brought in their big three, but they started from training camp, their mindset, and that's what I was trying to compare it to in our training camp. Kevin Garnett and them started from training camp, putting it in their mind how they was going to come out the season, how they was going to approach trying to win a championship. That was the main goal. And then so I started thinking about how we now, and I say we, but maybe me, how I keep saying we are work in progress. And then minding that Boston team, because they threw that word around a lot when they ran that championship year. And then I started saying that the words sound so easy because it buys you time, right? But then I started saying, if you break the words apart, work in progress, are we working and are we progressing? So then what are we working on? If we are work in progress, that means we're trying to get to something. So what are the Knicks actually working on to get us to where we need to be? And then if we are, who are we progressing? So they both come back to individual players. Come back to the individual. What are the type of things that is Tibbs working on? And then what are the players doing to make sure that all that happen? Because right now, the way it stands right now, we will stay in the middle of the pack. But we would stay in the lower echelon of the middle of the pack. Because I said the other day, after and I kind of believed it before, but it was just like the Boston game is what really, even if they would have won the Milwaukee game, even if we would have won the Milwaukee game, I think I still was gonna feel we're gonna slide before it gets better. But we're gonna slide for the worst. We're gonna still win our share of games, but we're not gonna win enough games to keep us at 3 and 4, because the Nets are starting to find their way. Milwaukee, they're in the bottom middle of the pack because they were out 2 of their key players, and Giannis can only do but so much by himself. What Chicago and what Washington is doing, well, Miami, they'll be steady. I'm not really counting on them. They'll be there, but the surprise team right now is Chicago and the Wizards, particularly the Wizards. They're the surprise team that's near the top heat since the season started, and to me they will fold. That won't stay after 25 games or so. I'd be shocked. But what we have to do is that we weathered the storm last year because we knew what we was building for. This year we came in with a target on our back, and we not meeting the challenge. So don't be surprised if I could be wrong though, but if we slide further back than we want to slide, because we're not closing out these games, and even the games that we actually are closing out and winning, we're not doing it in a fashion that makes somebody say, okay, now the Knicks click, the Knicks got it going. We don't got that right now, and it's showing. It's showing, and even if we do win, are we winning with a formula? And we're not doing that. We're not winning with a formula. And who does that all fall on? Does it fall on Tibbs, or does it fall on the players? But I tell you what, when we this schedule that's coming up, and that's no reason why I say we could fall back into the middle of the pack. We have a schedule that's coming up. There's all the teams that are in that cluster are all got basically the same record. So we could go from 4 one day to 3 days later, be at 10. And that's the way we playing. Because we haven't found the formula to really kick us over the edge. And I don't even know if that's all Tibbs' fault. Because sometimes some of that got to be on the owners. But then we always say we got all these assistant coaches. How do you go from a 15-point lead, having your way with a team, to all of a sudden can't even buy a basket, or even act like you got any type of a rhythm? So, but again, we come back on teams the same way, and then they may say the same thing. How did we blow a 20-something point lead in the Milwaukee game, for the Knicks to come back and tie it? So that it balances out. But we just don't got that, and I'm trying not to put that on Randall as the star of the team. But it's something in our formula that we don't got.
Yeah, I know. Talking to my boy last night, shout out OPs, but he blamed it on we gave up defense, but we only lost one player. You know what I mean? So how much defense we gained Mitch back, which helping us on the interior. But now we're getting beat on threes. And I think you said this last week. You gain one thing, but you always give up something else. So we didn't give up no threes last year, but now everything is, we didn't give up going to the paint. I forgot how it went, but basically you give up one, and I'm like, damn, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, well, it can't, no, because, two things with that. And he, in a sense, is right, too.
But it was only one. It's
not. It's bigger than that. But let's just go back to with the Milwaukee game. The Knicks decided that Giannis wasn't going to beat us going downhill. So we built that wall so he couldn't get his stride. But at the same time, now you got 3 people because he can't Euro on 3 people. Now you got to scramble to try to get back to your shooters. And that didn't even bother me because nobody's going to be that hot on a regular basis. And they were just knocking them down left and right. But that was something we decided to live with. We decided to live with the other guys. But I think what the dude you say was talking about is when we gave up defense. Remember we talked about this in the preseason. In our guards, we substituted offense for defense because Peyton and Alfred, they at least had defensive mindsets. Like they knew what their staple was. And then Fournier and Walker, they're offensive-minded players. So that's what. So you do give up something there, but that is not what's costing us because we still winning more last year in this way than we did in the beginning of the season. We winning more now than we did last year. So because we scoring more points, and Tibbs' system, they'll learn how to be where they got to be. Cause that's what they got to rely on because he don't got no real stopper. RJ, forget about last night because the RJ, I don't know what kind of defense he was playing last night. But prior to that, RJ had at least been like he's trying to get it. He's trying to get it down, but you're also trying to get it down. And like you say, you're an offensive player in your mind. You was a star all your life, a superstar all your life, and then you come to the Knicks and then you hit that type of a wall. So you want to learn the defense, but you also want to try to get your offense going too. So yeah, we did give up defense. In that, but it's going to be better for us in the long run because Tibbs' defensive system is a system, and we're not going to get a guy like Bullock to be able to come in and do what Bullock, the anticipation things that Bullock can do in man-to-man defense and help defense. So, but it just the state of the mind of the Knicks fans now is what's going to probably get the Knicks out of them dog days of them certain quarters because we having a bad third quarter, and the fans are going to start letting them have it because we got a terrible home record. Even though we went on the road last night and lost, we're doing way better on the road. So the state of the fans now is what's gonna tell what kind of team we got and what they made of because they're going to start barking on. They're going to start barking on them, and they're going to start calling for the second unit. Now,
and I was saying that, so I said maybe in hindsight. maybe Rose, since he know everything about Tibbs, he is a leader. He still didn't have to play too many minutes because you're playing the same minutes anyway. Maybe he should have started. You know what I mean? So when things is going bad, at least you can rely on Rose to do his job. Now with Kemba, when he does good, it's beautiful. But when he's doing bad, it's terrible.
but that comes down to that old thing of it. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. The second unit ain't broke.
No,
so don't try to fix the second unit, because it took Derek a while to understand, to get Tibbs, to get IQ and Burt and Obi and them. It took some growing pains to get that. Like when they would try to throw the ball to Obi, remember last year, the missed alley-oops. But Derek would run to him right away, like, okay, I'm the passer, my fault, but don't stop. Stuff like that. So thing with IQ, when you got it going and you in that rhythm, don't be worrying about where I'm at. Pull it.
Yeah, but sometimes he going from cardiac Kemba to heart attack Kemba.
Well, we're gonna touch on that in a little bit. But this is what Wally said last night on the Knicks postgame show, which was to me one of the best things I heard, because he is a former player. Is that when everybody's calling for the starters, the bench to be out there all the time. And when they brought back their starters, and he talking about the matchups, and then he said the reason why, because we got guys that started in this league on our bench. And one of the reasons why our bench is so strong is because we're playing against other teams' benches for the most part. And so if you take those bench players, all of them, and put them in the starting unit, they're not going to fare the same.
Yeah,
and that makes Derek and Burke and Nerlens and got Taj, they all been starters for a hefty part of their careers. So yeah, of course they got more nuances when they're going against younger bench players. They got more savvy. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, yeah, right. It's times that we need Derek to maybe be in there sometime just to break the monotony.
Yeah, but so my question is, Kemba does like running. So you don't think he should maybe try, or maybe even in practice, if he did or didn't, see what Kemba looks like running up and down with them young boys? And maybe D Rose running up and down at the speed of what? Because our starters are mixtures of young and old.
Yeah, but our starters don't run.
Injury-prone people, like it's a mixture of them.
But our starters don't. That was the same thing when Carmelo, when we would put him in with our bench players, Carmelo didn't run.
Yeah, but this is
our starters don't. Our starters generally though don't run.
Yeah,
so
but see, when D Rose is running, he's attacking.
Right,
he's trying to make something happen.
Right, and you got IQ and them running with you. You got them running. You got them running with you, because if you look at the Milwaukee game, Derek got this is probably our first real fast break I've seen in a long time. Simple layup. Derek, I think it was Taj got the rebound, outlet it to Derek. Derek beat 2 or 3 people to get to the middle of the floor. Now we got a 3-on-1 with IQ on one side and Burke on the other. And Derek got into the lane and then hit Burke for a regular layup. A few plays down, same play, but this time it's Obi on the other side. Burke goes in for the layup, misses the layup, and Obi's right there. He didn't give up on the play to tap it in. That's the kind of running. Because remember, we talked about our fast break problems that we run into the three-point line. We don't got nobody dragging the defense down all the way to the rim.
Yeah,
and that's what our second unit now is starting to do. And that's probably coming from Derek. The three-point line is there. Let the trailer get that. Because most of our team can hit the outside shot. The ones that are ahead keep going to the basket.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can get. If we can get a formula like that, then then we can say we got some type of identity we building around on offense. All right, so the other thing I was thinking about the other day is our hardest opponent right now is us, is ourselves. Because until we can get some type of real continuity on the offense, the defense is going to come. The scrambling, okay, certain things about Randall he just ain't going to do. And you see it again last night, like the help when it comes to helping. Just certain things, if it's not in his benefit, he ain't going to do it. But as far as the offense, if we don't come together and gel, not even so much as a whole team, because again, it's still work in progress, But it's like things like, like the RJ to Randall 2-man game, the Kemba to Fournier pick and pop. If little things don't come together in gel, things that are in our capability, then we not going to be that team we want to be right now. It's going to take a whole lot of lumps to get there. And then by that time, a lot of the fans could be out of it by that time. Like in terms of, you just want to feel good when the Knicks play. You don't want to have to always, and it's nice to be able to jump up and down. I mean, I almost broke something in the Milwaukee game on the comeback. And I said, damn, Joey and Nene don't live here no more. Who am I blaming on? Because I almost knocked stuff over in here. Because that was a nice comeback. And that's what you want the wins to be. But if we don't gel soon, we got to get back to that before we can worry about how we're going to play the other opponents. We got to learn how to beat ourselves out of that misery that we're doing in these games. It's like good for 3 minutes, bad for 8 minutes. Then you get a minute here. Now, one thing I do think is that how we could fix it. There's 3 players who I think that can get us out of it. All right, and then we're going to end with that. And then one is, and this is our offensive woes, and one is Kemba. Now, we know Kemba came here, cardiac Kemba, and he wanted to do all this tricky with the ball, but you're coming off an injury, and you're going to a new team. So we need Kemba, take it back to basics. Just get into the lane, dish off, find the open man, and when you're around the perimeter, hit your open shot when it come back. Like, for Kemba, keep that basic, right? Until you got it going. With Fournier, again, take the ball, dribbling it in the lane, losing it. You was our answer, Fournier, to the Hawks, 3-point shooting. So get the ball, just be a sniper. Because same thing they did in the Milwaukee game. Them guys came in at the end after we fought our way back, and they just got the ball, shooting them threes, bang, bang, bang. Now we was back out of it again. And then you came in, and then you just dribbling it around. Just get the ball and shoot it right now. We don't need you right now. We know what you can do. We brought you here for a reason. You don't got to show us your whole repertoire right now. Right now, because we got guys driving to the hole, we brought you right now as a sniper. So just get the ball and let it fly. Keep the other teams honest. Every time they see you, they're going to fear it. And just shoot it. That's all we need from you right now. And then, of course, Randall. And I'm starting to notice it now in way too many games. When the team is trying to push the ball, Randall is lacking. If Randall don't get the ball when it's taken out of bounds. Remember how we used to say, why is Melo going back to try to get the ball every time we inbounding it, and then they give it to the guard? Well, Randall's doing the same thing. And if he's not the one that get it, then he's lagging back, and now we're down there playing 3 on offense against 5. And if our big man is still trailing or get into the play 4 on 5, because Randall takes himself out of the play. He just walks up the court behind the point guard, and now they're trying to get something going, but then they know they got to wait for him. So Randall also, just if you don't get the ball, just don't even go for the ball, first of all, unless you get the rebound. Let the guard inbound get the ball, and you just fly down court. And Randall, you're playing better when you down court. Now you got the mismatch, and you get the guy on the block, and you can do the things you need to do. But when you're just lacking back in the backcourt, you're stalling our offense, and now we get less time to shoot, which creates the one-on-one shot where we got to rush something. So those are just like 3 formulas that I think we could do right now to at least keep us in the hunt until we gel as a team. Because everybody else their roles are what it is. But the other 3 guys, they're an essential part of us being a contending team. All right, so does you want to add something, Joey? We're going to stop it there.
They can add me.
All right, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a friend. We're trying to get our numbers up so we can do more. And we see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.